All right, 7:23, and good morning. We have kind of a decent day on the way today, going to 43. Certainly decent, considering it was, 7 degrees about this time yesterday morning? And we'll be at 50 tomorrow, and then back to snow for the weekend, believe it or not. And then after that, long range, 50s and 60s. It looks like we might be out of the woods a little bit coming up. Okay, Andrew, can you hold on that, and I'll do that afterwards. I have Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney in studio here right now. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning.
So, big night last night. Did you watch any of the game last night?
I did.
Bit of a blowout.
Yeah, it was a blowout, but it was still exciting.
It was kind of one of those blowouts where even when they were down and Syracuse started to come back, you just didn't feel like. UConn was that good.
They're good.
Yeah.
I was a basketball player in high school, so I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
It's so exciting that the girls are playing so well. And I can't believe they're 6'4". We were just talking about it with Jeff.
I know.
I was the starting center, and I'm 5'8".
This Brianna Stewart is, say...
I hate to jump off against her or any of them. I mean, they're amazing.
Well, they were calling her last night maybe the best women's basketball player ever to come out of the NCAA.
Wow.
That's pretty big. That's a pretty big
from
statement.
Syracuse. Cicero or Syracuse? That's what she.
Yeah. All right. So you get this each time. It's budget time, and I know you put out a statement explaining why you voted no on the issues that some people may feel will benefit the area, whether it's the tax cut for the middle class or nano money or the hospital or what's that?
$42 a year.
Well, whatever. I mean, we were kind of talking about that as well. What does that really end up meaning for everybody? But at the end of the day, the nano money coming in, the hospital money, you voted no. And your explanation on that?
Yeah, I vote no. So far, I voted no on just about every budget bill that I've faced since I started in 2010 or 2011 was when I first took office. It's the process that we have to change. We do budgets under a message of necessity. Not all of our budgets have been under a message of necessity. Actually, my first year, we didn't use a message of necessity on some of our budget bills, and I voted yes on some of those. But this year, I think in some ways was one of the worst budgets I've ever seen, but yet there were some good things in the budget.
We had Butler saying it was probably one of the worst processes where the way it was shoved down everybody's throats on the Republican side.
I mean, the message of necessity, we need to give the taxpayers, we need time to read the bills. I know I went down to the bill drafting area, and I just went and got hard copies of the bill. You can see somebody put it on Twitter. One of the media members from I think it was CBS or ABC News, I can't remember. But I mean, it was like this big. There's 1,200 pages in one of the bills, the so-called Big Ugly, 750 in another, and I just can't, in good faith, vote on something that I haven't seen or I don't know what's in it. And we do our best. Our staff does their best job to try to tell us what's in it, but I like to read it. I'm a lawyer. I want to know what I'm voting on. There's no reason why we can't take 3 days to consider this, all because the governor says he wants, theoretically, to have a so-called on-time budget. Technically, the budget wasn't on time. It was over the budget.
What does the no vote accomplish? Well, in your opinion, what do you accomplish? Knowing that you're one of maybe a dozen...
there were more of us. There were a lot of us voting no. There were more voting no this year than I've seen in years. But by the way...
I went through the numbers, and it ranges between 12... to maybe 18 that voted no on
20
each.
Here's
maybe
the
20.
issue, though, Bill.
Yeah.
So
the question is, what do you accomplish by voting no?
Yeah, let me ask two parts of it.
Yeah.
When Mario Cuomo was the governor, every one of the Republicans voted no on this. They did. It wasn't a question. Now we have Republicans voting on pork, $1 billion in cronyism coming into it's taxpayer money being put in the governor's sole exclusive discretion to do whatever he wants with it. That's totally unconstitutional.
But isn't it different now because
it's not any different. Well, why should I vote yes on a budget that is terrible for the taxpayers?
I would say, isn't it different? Isn't it different now because
we have a Democratic governor and we have a Democratic assembly that's more Democratic than ever before, and that we got the most progressive, the most liberal, the biggest spending, the biggest debt-laden budget that we've ever faced in the history of New York State.
But isn't it different
And I should vote yes on that for the taxpayers of New York who are now facing an increased minimum wage, when we rely on small businesses, when I receive literally hundreds of emails from small business owners that said, this is it, I'm going to go under. And I'm talking about small mom and pop startups, people who are struggling just to make it, not the big box stores or the national.
But back to my original question. We'll get to the minimum
no
wage.
Vote. I mean, how can I vote yes on something just to go along, to get along and say, yeah, I'm going to vote yes, and go back and apologize to the people I promised that I would stand for something?
But my question was, isn't it different now? Because when Mario Cuomo was in office, there was no talk of money being invested upstate. There was no money being invested. But now we have millions being invested into nanotech, which will turn into jobs in the area. $300 million coming into a brand new hospital that totally benefits the area. So
that's your opinion, though, Bill. That's not necessarily.
It doesn't benefit the area?
How do you know? Do we know yet?
Well, if the money doesn't.
Well, wait a minute, Bill.
Here's how you know. If the money doesn't come, then you know.
Here's how you know, Bill.
Right? If there's no money for nanotech, then there'll be no nanotech.
We have spent hundreds of millions of dollars right now of taxpayer money put into this community over the last several years. And where are we economically in the state and across the country? We are the single worst economy in the nation. So I'm not against us using the money. I just want to see accountability.
But in your district,
where's the money going, Bill? Where are the jobs? Where is the economy? Why aren't our taxes going down?
Here would be my.
You're asking me to just kind of like, hey, it's all about taking hundreds of millions of dollars and sticking it here. We have $150 million consent.
But you know that money, if it doesn't go here, it's going to Binghamton.
But this is the simplistic.
No. Let's get
trying to make.
I love simple arguments. Come on, it's a good simple argument.
But it's not. But it's the wrong. I'm trying to give you the argument that.
So you would.
Why can't we see where this money's going? Why aren't we seeing? Why aren't we seeing the production of jobs? Why aren't we Why don't I get to see this before I vote on it? Because the governor has to go to the New York Times and say I got an on-time budget on April 1st. Why can't I did a motion during the budget that said, let's wait 3 days. I motioned to table the bill, especially some of these bills, like the big education bill, which was great for education, but terrible for small business owners. The people paying the taxes. Who is paying the bulk of the property taxes in this state? The farmers, and the farmers are taking it in the neck.
I understand.
Literally and they put them together.
I understand.
On the same bill, and you want me to vote yes on that, and just say to every small business owner and farmer,
well, are you saying that
screw it? You're paying all the property taxes, and we don't care.
Are you saying the other conservatives that voted yes are
name the conservatives that voted yes?
Well,
on
I
this.
would say Mark Butler voted yes on some of the
He didn't vote yes on the budget bill, on the budget with the school budget.
Elements of the bill.
I wouldn't
the budget.
But when you say conservative,
he voted for the hospital money.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about process and what we're getting at, and what. Let me ask you something. Where do you think $300 million spent on a structure in downtown Utica is the best use of that money?
If it's going to go to Binghamton, otherwise, I would say yes.
No, that's not the question I asked. See, you're doing
well.
You just asked me. The question is, do you think that's...
But my answer is logical.
Let's say...
My answer is real.
But your answer isn't real.
It is real.
You have $300 million
reality
coming to Oneida County.
Yes.
Where is the best place to spend that money? Is it going to go to Binghamton?
But you understand...
You're dodging the question, Bill.
Oh, now you're interviewing me.
The question. You're saying, it'll go to Binghamton.
No.
So we just got to take all the money we can and shove it into a downtown hospital
I'm saying
building.
that you understand with a grant, let's say it's a grant, if someone issues a grant, to the Utica Police Department.
By the way, it's not a grant. It's paid for by the taxpayers. Okay. It's part of an indebtedness by the state taxpayers.
Okay.
Which is fine if Utica is going to get it. Here's the question, Bill. Is that the best use of the money?
I didn't even get
That's
to
the question
say what I was
asked
going to say.
Well, because you didn't answer my question. I said, is it the best use of the money?
Right.
You said, no, it could go to Binghamton.
Okay.
Could we do a full, a freestanding emergency center, which we need? We need urgent care.
Why
can't we do that?
Can we go back to my question that you didn't answer? Because you haven't answered any of mine yet.
I've answered every one of your questions.
You have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Replay your tape and listen. I've answered all your questions.
Let me ask this part.
You just don't like the answer. You wanted me to say something that you want to hear. You don't want to hear the answer that is the reason I voted against the budget.
You're right. And actually, to be fair, you're kind of a tough position because you're running for Congress, right? I mean,
in your opinion, it's a tough position. My constituents are very happy that I stood up for them.
You're in an awesome position. Can I rephrase my question?
Fine.
You're in an awesome position. you're running for Congress, so the district is very large. I mean, where does this congressional district go?
The district is half the distance of my assembly district,
I
but
understand.
we won't.
But where does the district start? So it starts in Oswego, in that area?
Oswego, Oneida, Herkimer, Madison, Shenango, Cortland, Binghamton area, which is Broome, and then
so you're in
a piece of Tioga County.
You're in a tough position. So if you were to vote for money to come to the hospital for Utica, I can't imagine the people in Binghamton would be happy.
I'm running for Congress. This is a state issue.
Well, but I'm saying, but in your race, you're in the middle of a congressional race.
It isn't about how many hundreds of millions of dollars you can bring to the two most economically depressed areas in the country.
Right.
In the country, not just the state, in the country.
I understand
and we put
that.
hundreds of millions of dollars in, and where are we? We're still. How come our taxes haven't gone down?
So what?
I'm just saying, I think it's great that we're getting $300 million for our medical community, but I would like to see a board sit down. Not just St. Luke's. I'd like to see the entire medical community come together because they're very excited about getting the money and finding out what is the best use. What is the best use of this $300 million? Because remember, the original project was $300 million plus, I believe, another $500 or at least
But you voted against the $300 million. So
I voted
if it was
against
up to you, it wouldn't
now,
be coming.
So Bill, here's the thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of things in that budget I voted against that were good things for me to vote against. So what should I do? Should I just rubber stamp a process that is unconstitutional, even though I took an oath to take a constitutional oath to uphold the process? We shouldn't be voting on minimum wage and many of these other things. We shouldn't be taking taxpayer money, private money, and giving it to private corporations. This is why Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are winning. The people are sick and tired of the politicians taking our money and using it to leverage their situation wherever they are in our communities, and that's what's going on with this money.
Would you agree it's been going on for forever? It seems for a long time.
I think it's worse than ever now.
And would you?
I think that people are fed up, and I think that's why you're seeing a change. People like getting
I understand
fed
that.
up.
And would you agree though that if it's been going on for a long time, this is the first time the money's actually been coming here, and we have evidence of it?
No, it's not the first time. We have received
but not like this.
We've received billions of dollars here.
Like this?
Remember all the empire zones?
I know, but have you
Bill,
ever?
You believe that just dumping tons of money into an area, building so we're going to build a multi-million-dollar, like hundreds of millions on a hospital structure.
Are you against
what are we
the
doing
nano?
About that? What are we doing about the reimbursement
rate?
rate?
Would you rather that nano project than not happen? Are we better off if it doesn't happen?
What I would like to see with the nano project is I would like to see these private corporations who are worth billions of dollars. Hate to sound like Bernie Sanders, but they're worth billions of dollars. They have billions of dollars stocked up offshore in other countries. I'd like to see them use their money and invest like they're investing. Private companies are investing in nano everywhere else but Utica. We, the taxpayers, are investing in this. I would like to see them investing. This is their research and development money.
And they are.
Are they?
Both are.
How much have they put in? Do you have a number?
Well, we do have numbers. They're very
how much
public.
is it?
Come on, they're public. You
Where?
know the numbers.
I don't know, Bill. You're saying that. I've never seen them.
I know you haven't because you're never invited to any of the events.
That's not true.
You're never there.
That's not true. I'm invited to all the events.
You are?
Absolutely.
I've never seen you at any of those events.
I get invited to. What does that have to? See, you're.
I'm just asking you. Why are you
now?
No. Why are you not there?
Bill, why can't you tell me how much money since you're?
This is the worst interview ever. You don't answer any of my questions.
I'm answering your questions. I asked you how much money is being invested in nanotechnology.
And I can't give you the number off the top of my head. But you know what the number is.
I have no idea how much they're investing.
It's very public. Could someone look it up, Christine?
Can you
look
tell
up the
me
numbers?
how much? Let me ask you something. Why are they drawing back the Malta
This is going to be
production?
fun if you get into Congress. We are going to see you on
Just
Meet
tell
the
me.
Press and on Fox News.
I don't care about any of that.
Oh,
but tell me this,
honest.
Bill. What?
Raise your
how
right
much
hand and
money,
say you'll never. Tell
how
me
much
now
money,
you will not appear if you become Congresswoman.
Anything.
Tell me you won't appear on all those shows.
Why? What does that have to do with anything, Bill?
I'm just asking.
Did you ask Richard Hanna that question? Will you appear on those shows?
I've never gotten into a conversation like this with
why,
Richard Hanna.
But why are you asking me that question? The question is, how much have the private companies invested in nanotechnology?
Christine's looking that up.
How much have they invested in? How many jobs do we have there right now?
She's looking that up for us.
But how
the jobs
know
now
that?
we know that there are few jobs there, less
right
than
now.
a couple of hundred right now.
There are a couple of hundred.
So the question
and
I had,
AMS is committing to $4 billion, and GE
committing.
Like
how much have they
$2
spent?
billion.
Yeah, but
yeah,
is that
Bill,
fair?
Why are we spent? Can you know what, Bill? Here's what other businesses say. I think it's great that we are going to have a nanotechnology center and have the educational operations and possibilities for our students. The question is, who is paying for it, and who is going to be putting? If these companies are going to invest and pay that money back to the community, I think it's great. But I want to make sure they're going to pay that money back to our community. That's a lot of money.
And you don't buy any
As
of
I
the,
drove down broken down roads to get to here.
Yeah. You don't buy any of the argument that if the money doesn't come here, it's going to go somewhere else.
Well, I just don't think it's a valid argument.
And Binghamton's not a good example.
It's a scare tactic, Bill.
Yeah.
The question is, why are we investing so much money and we're not seeing the jobs? I would like to see the jobs. If we really are going to get the jobs, I think it's great.
Let's change.
But the question is, I would like to see these private businesses who have the money, Bill. They have the money. Why aren't they right here putting their money out? Why aren't they using our
that
local
was the press
banks?
conference that you weren't at.
But are they using
it all happened there.
I got all the press releases that came out with the glowing statements from Cuomo, how he's the greatest guy ever, and there's never been a governor like him, and there's never been a more progressive, more wonderful state, and yet we're dead last in nearly every category.
Can I ask you a question? If this is hypothetical, so I know you don't like those questions, but I want to throw that out. If Cuomo came out of this smelling like a rose, looking like he single-handedly rebuilt the Mohawk Valley, and we ended up with thousands of jobs, a new hospital, the new arterial, a brand new, basically, auditorium, and money put into the area, and all of these jobs happened, but Cuomo is the one that walks away the hero. How do you, as a father,
I think it would be great. This is all hypothetical.
It would be great.
Will it work though, Bill? And this is the question.
But how do you vote
Bill,
before you give it a chance to? How do you know? Let me just finish, and then you can go. I know you're shaking your head.
You're just putting up false.
Let me just finish. How do you say?
240,000 people in Oneida County.
Okay, I'll let you talk.
In Herkimer County.
Yeah.
What is the impact on those people? Are their taxes going down? Are those small businesses that are already here? Are they thriving and growing? Are they part of the equation too?
No, the philosophy would be, I would imagine, that if you grow jobs, the entire region will grow. Right? I mean, that's what I think that's the philosophy.
No, your philosophy is if
it's
we
not
take,
my philosophy, Claudia. I'm a radio host.
But you're advocating if we take billions.
Everybody else voted for this, but you.
No, that's not true. A lot of people voted against it.
Not in our area.
Well,
not a single representative in our area voted against.
What does that make me a bad person?
No, I'm only asking you why you're the only one.
Because I guess I'm the only one that
knows
believes.
Better.
No, I'm the only one that thinks that I have an oath of office that I have sworn to uphold.
Okay.
I cannot vote on a message of necessity and vote on taking all this money. And my problem isn't the nano center and the hospital.
Right.
My problem is the slush fund that we put in the hands of Andrew Cuomo that's over $1 billion.
This goes back to my question. If he comes out smelling like a rose, at this point, I would say we've been through. I wouldn't care at this point.
Everything is rosy and wonderful, and we shouldn't change a thing.
I didn't say that. I said if he. Claudia, I never said that.
Well,
if he comes out smelling like a rose.
If I voted for all this, do I have to go back to my taxpayers and say, hey, we got hundreds of millions of dollars that we gave to the governor. We put $30 million to track you down under the SAFE Act to see who's a gun owner and who has a manufacturer's database. Should I vote for all that?
You bring up the SAFE Act.
And then go back and apologize to everyone and say, sorry, my oath of office I took a leave of absence on my oath of office.
You bring up the SAFE Act.
I want to be part of this whole sausage making and do all these things that nobody else is willing to do.
Well, you're definitely not a part of that.
Yeah,
Let me ask you, though, if this budget included an abolishment of the SAFE Act, but it included all the other little nuggets that Cuomo threw in there, how would you vote?
No.
You'd vote no on that, even if it got rid of the SAFE Act.
Because the SAFE Act should not be in the budget. The slush fund
should be, could be, would it be, would it be?
The
doesn't matter.
increase in the minimum wage should not be in the budget. They should all be standalone bills.
Yeah. So you would vote no.
It says it right in the Constitution. Go look up Article 7 of the Constitution.
You would vote no.
No riders shall be attached to the budget. It is about budgeting for appropriations and revenues for the people of the state of New York.
Well, why is it done?
Education for people with special needs. Speaking of which, Bill, the people the worst. Yeah. This is the worst budget for people with special needs. We have totally screwed the community and the caregivers for people with special needs.
So I want to just change
So
gears.
I would have to vote. If I voted yes, I would have to come back and say to the people who
Let's
work
forget
very
voting
hard
yes.
every day and say, you should not
Yeah.
give the loving care to people with special needs and our senior citizens. You should go to McDonald's
Can we
and
forget-
work for $15 an hour.
Can we forget? Some people in radio would say, "Wow, look at the increase." Can we forget your vote and say, "I'd like to know how you fix it. What are you doing right now that corrects the problem that you've just described? A terrible scenario. The Constitution is being broken. We're being pillaged. The Cuomo is overtaxing. It goes on and on.
You're using your own words. Those aren't my words.
You're correct.
You're using your own words.
I am summarizing.
As I've said four times, here's what I would do.
Hold
I would go back and separate.
I'm not asking you. I'm only asking for you to answer this question. No, that's not my question. What are you doing and what have you done specifically to help our area? Tell me which bills your name is on, you're involved with, that have benefited the Mohawk Valley, and I will not interrupt you. Please tell me.
Would you want me to do a complete list? I have bills that would reduce the property tax.
Specifics. I'm looking for specifics.
Well,
bills that have passed.
More specific.
Bills that have
Can I
passed
be?
that you've worked with other members, whether they be of your own party or of the Democratic Party. Which bills have you passed to benefit our area since you've been in office? In other words,
God.
what have you accomplished?
I have if you think
Specifically.
if you think that passing bills is an accomplishment, I have passed more bills as a freshman member of the Assembly. Sorry about that. I have passed. This is for your listening audience.
Because everybody always hits you with this question.
More bills. No, everybody doesn't. The
Well,
only
they always
person,
criticize
the
you
only
about this.
person that asked me this question, and the only person that criticizes me for this is you.
I've never
The
asked you
only
this question
person that
before.
actually gives me a hard time about anything
I'm just
is you.
I'm asking you the
Because
question.
you don't like the fact that
Let's
somebody stands up to the status quo.
No, that's
so
not it.
I
Honest to
have
God, it
over
isn't it. I
60
promise you.
chaptered pieces of legislation that actually have my name on them.
Okay.
I have another 15 or 20 that, as a member of the Republican minority, I've had to take my name off these initiatives
And what are
put
they?
them in the name
And what are they? And who did you have to work
of
with?
other Bill McGee,
And which specific
Robin
bills,
Schimminger,
though? I'd just like to know which
George
pieces
Latimer, who's now a senator,
which pieces of
John
legis-
McDonald,
of-
Mike Simanowitz, Anthony Brindisi doesn't make me take my name off it, which I give kudos to
But
him.
I'm just saying-
many times, Bill,
Okay.
as it works in the Assembly, this is what you want me to rubber stamp. I represent 134,000
I'm not
people.
asking you
I have
to
to take my
yeah.
name off a bill because I'm a Republican, not because I'm Claudia Tenney, because I'm a Republican. We all do it so we can get a bill passed. I had a bill, just an example of last year, just
Yeah.
a bill on Vietnam veterans. I've had to protect Vietnam veterans for 4 years. Last year, a guy who happens to be running for Senator Skelos' seat decided to take the bill, my bill, put it in his name, and it passed unanimously through committee, passed unanimously on the floor, and was passed into law because somebody else's name was on it. And that's how it works in the Assembly. It's wrong. It's against
I
our
understand that.
constitutional system.
And you're
but
in a-
I have
you are
many,
a-
many bills that have passed that are very good for our community.
You're in a
and I'm
very-
not going to expose
Yeah.
members
Okay.
who have graciously stepped up to take bills so that we can help our communities.
So you can't. So you're saying
But there are
that.
many other. There's 60 others that I've what chapter legislation
Could
means
you
bills that
give
have
us
become
a
law.
list?
But
so
by
that-
the way, so when
can
you
I-
get all hyped up about
I'm
this,
not getting hyped up. I'm not.
just so you know, Richard Hanna
Okay.
has passed 3 bills, naming 2 post office and a coin as a member of Congress in 6 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Listen.
Just
can-
saying.
Can
saying.
Can I simply say?
So if you want to look at substantive
one of-
versus one person in the Assembly as a minority member and a member of Congress as a majority member,
Yeah.
I think I've done pretty well as a minority member. Not only that, I've given voice to a lot of people
Would you
who are
send-
objecting to this kind of
Would
what's
you
going on
send
in our
us
community.
a list? Because and just hear me out.
It's
I ask you. please-
assembly.state.ny.us. You can find them all there.
Oh, that's a hard jar. You know that is.
No, it's not.
It
It takes
is.
2 seconds to do it. You
That's
just put
not
in my
true.
name, put in Claudia Tenney,
Can-
and they'll all come up.
Can you do me? Can you do me this? I'm. When I ask you this question, you automatically assume that it's me attacking you. This is what your opponents how they attack you.
No, they don't.
They don't?
No, my opponents are describing me as a tax and spend liberal in the pocket of Sheldon Silver.
Okay.
They
All
don't
right.
describe me this way at all. They
Okay.
know that I'm
dreamed
doing
this up,
the
then.
right thing. That's the problem. They instead of talking about my conservative record,
Would you
my belief in standing up for the state constitution and the federal constitution, they try to do what they call a false flag campaign. They describe me as a liberal because I do vote for certain bills. I vote for education funding because I believe in public education.
Sure.
That is technically, you're voting for education funding, but that's an
But
obligation
you didn't
of
in
the
this
state.
budget. You didn't vote for in this budget.
I couldn't vote for increasing the minimum wage when I
Right.
have farmers that are going to go out of
Got
business.
it. Could you, all we're asking
And by
for.
the way, the minimum wage should not be attached to the budget, as I said a number of times. Why couldn't
understand.
we separate it?
But it is.
Because it's leveraged against each
But
other.
it is, though, and
why are we
it-
voting for this bill? It's wrong.
But you could say why. You're going to say why. You're going to wire yourself right out of office because it's never going to change.
Do you think that
You're
I do
not
this
gonna
because I want to be
change.
in office?
No, I didn't imply
I do
that.
this
I don't
because
think
I'm trying
I
to
meant
do
that.
the right thing for the people that I
Yeah.
represent. I don't care
But
whether
wouldn't
I'm in
be-
office
but-
or a media person. It doesn't matter.
But wouldn't the right thing?
I'm not trying to get it. I'm not a career politician, Bill. I'm willing to give up my seat. I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to take risks to help the people that I represent. That's what I'm doing.
In fairness, you've been.
You get all hired out. Oh my God! I don't have a
I'm
pension.
not getting that
I don't
way.
have all these things, but
I don't have a pension either.
yeah, but you're not
Yeah.
running for office because you couldn't get elected, probably.
Okay, well,
But your
thanks
father
for that.
did, though.
That's awesome. Listen, you keep saying you're not a career politician. At what point?
No, I heard one of my
But-
opponents once said I've been in government my whole life.
Well,
I
you've
got
been-
elected in 2010.
But you've been in. You were working with Dave Townsend. I mean, you've been in the business for
I
quite
have
a while.
owned a business since what I inherited in 2005.
How long have you been working?
It almost went bankrupt. I recovered it, saved it, sold it for millions of dollars, paid off the debt.
Boy, am I!
And here I am.
If I could just take all of these elements and just break them all up, I would have it'd be easier
You're
for me.
calling me a career politician. I took
I
office
didn't ask
at
you
age
that.
50.
I'm
I'm 55 now. It's 5 years.
But in fairness, you worked for Dave Townsend. Has he been a part of the system? It's not like
part of the system. How does that make? Because I work for one of the most maverick members of the state assembly who was not an insider like me.
Please don't use the
that
word
makes
maverick.
Me, that
Honest
makes
to
me
God.
part of the system.
because that's such a Claudia or such a
What do you call
Sarah
him?
what's her name?
Dave
Sarah
wasn't
Palin.
a go along to get along
Yeah.
guy.
But you completely avoided my question.
He voted no on the budgets.
You have, but my point is, you've worked in politics.
Mark Butler voted no on the budgets.
You've worked in politics for a long time.
Not really.
What point,
in my
though?
40s, I'm now in my 50s.
How many
it wasn't like
offices-
I started out when I was 18.
And to go
no.
back,
Yeah.
you.
I'm done with the interview, though, but thanks. I really do. I have to.
But
a
to be
meeting at
honest,
8
you've
o'clock.
run for more offices than you've won. So
Not true.
That isn't. I mean,
No.
you've run for.
Hey, look at you. Always love to talk about how many offices. Joe Griffo ran
I don't
for
talk
mayor
about
of
these
Rome. You
things.
just said it.
No, I'm bringing him up for the first time to you
No,
ever.
Joe Griffo ran for. You talk about it all the time when I'm not on the air.
No,
Joe
I don't.
Griffo
Claudia.
ran for
you
mayor
clearly
of
don't
Rome,
listen because I don't
county
talk about
executive,
you at all.
and senator, all within 4 years.
All right. Any other
I've
people
run
you
for
want
three. I've run for 3 offices
Any other-
in 10 years.
Any other people you want to deflect with and
I'm
trash?
just saying. You said how many offices have I run for that I haven't?
You have to understand. You began criticizing career politicians. Which
I'm not a
prompted,
career
hold on,
politician.
which prompted me to question you. How do you differentiate yourself as not a career politician versus other career politicians?
Because I have a
when
private. I make more money in the private sector right now that I
When-
rely on for my income
Right.
than I do as a politician. I
I don't-
have not
yeah.
started working since I was 18 or the day I got out of college.
Yeah.
In a job in government where I get a pension and I get health care and I've not had a job like that.
Yeah.
That's what a career politician is. They hopscotch from job to job to job to job.
Well, you're getting there.
In government. How?
Well, I mean, you're running
I've served
for a
in
lot
the
of
state
offices.
assembly 3 times, and
you've-
I'm running for Congress.
Well, I would say you
That-
started a career here, Claudia.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it a
I'd
career.
s-
I'm not eligible for any of the benefits of a career politician.
Well, you certainly will be, right? I mean,
How?
if you get into Congress and
How
you
will I be eligible? You have to work for what?
can you draw
10
me up
years?
also along with the bills that you've passed.
Bill, I don't work
Along
for
with the
you.
bills, could you also maybe your office could send us the true definition of a career? How many years you have to be in politics?
I just gave you the definition.
before you become a career
Well, you
politician.
tell me. Why don't you tell me what is a career politician?
I don't know, Claudia. You're the expert, which is why I'm asking.
Well, I consider a career politician someone who spent their entire life holding government office of some kind or working in the system.
So not someone who's been in for 20 years, but someone who's been in for 30 years. I'm just wondering where do we draw the line?
But I have a private business that I run and I work on. I'm also an attorney.
Versus Joe Griffith, who doesn't have a private business.
If I lose the position, I'm willing to lose. A lot of politicians, this is what they rely on in Albany.
All right.
You know what? You're not going to get reelected if you vote no on this budget.
Then are you willing to say you won't run for the Assembly if you lose in June?
Of course I am. I've already said that.
You will not run for the Assembly?
Why would I?
If you lose in June, will you run for the Assembly?
Likely not. Why should I?
Specific answer. Not likely. I mean, give us a direct answer.
I don't have to answer that question. I mean, I don't imagine a scenario where I would run at this point, but I very well could. But I probably won't.
The woman, the woman that we had on, the candidate we had on the other day? Kelso. Kelso. She works for your office?
Yes, she does.
Will she step down if you lose and you want to run?
Will she step down? Was she step down from what?
From running. I
don't know. I haven't asked her. Is she put
I
don't think anybody plans on me running for office.
Do you think though that are you working with her to run in case
I'm not.
that you decide to run?
She would. No,
she
I'm
would,
not.
A placeholder they call it. You know what I'm talking about.
For the job.
You know what I'm talking about. A placeholder. Is she there as a placeholder
she's not
for
a
you?
Placeholder,
so you won't run for the Assembly.
I can't wait till you ask all these questions of everybody else.
I never get to such a point with everybody else.
It's hysterical. It's like watching. You never ask hard questions of anyone else. It's all a softball.
I love a good softball, which I wish we could have one with you one day.
You ask me questions and I'm answering the way that you don't want me to answer. That's just the way it is.
It's not true.
I'm just trying to tell the truth to the people.
I ask you a question,
all I've ever tried to do.
Can I tell you the honest
I
to
come
God's
from
truth?
media. I've tried to tell the truth. I try to be honest with the taxpayers.
When I ask you a question,
that's what I do.
It's like you become a porcupine, and each little thorn throws out 50 other questions, and my brain is looking at all of them, and it becomes very difficult for me to even remember what my original question was.
You sound silly. I didn't have, what name example.
I can't do it because I'm frustrated.
You can't because you have an answer that you're looking for, and I'm not going to give you the answer you want. I'm going to give you the truth. It's not the truth, Bill. Really? It sets you free.
So the truth is you might run, but you might not run.
That's what I might not. That's truthful.
All right, I'll take that.
I mean,
the porcupine
as I
thing
said to you,
was
it's
an
unlikely.
Awesome analogy. You got to think about it.
It's not an awesome analogy.
In my world, which is little and small,
your world
is an
is
amazing analogy. I got to break.
Big government, liberal. How much can we spend? And who cares what this little guy? What happens to the little guy and the small taxpayer?
Problem is that my world is all I have to go with, Claudia. I apologize for that, but
you don't have to apologize for anything. But I'm just giving you. I'm telling you what the people want to know. They want to know the truth.
Got a break. Thank you.